Many women know how to push, but very few know how to get quiet. And by this, I mean a kind of quiet when you finally start listening to yourself instead of everything around you. And this is what's disconnecting you from your power. It's not only exhaustion, it's the constant of giving away of your energy, the over explaining, the vigilance, the micro adjustments. In this video, I want to show you what many of the women I work with finally realize, and that is that the habits that used to and once helped you succeed are now actually getting in the way and draining you. And the shift that happens when you return to yourself, when you get settled into yourself inward. If you're feeling a change to speak less, come inward, you're not losing your edge. You're stepping into a new kind of leadership. Most women I work with think that they're tired because they're doing too much. But if you look closely, it's almost never true. What exhausts you is not the doing, but the leaking. All the tiny habitual ways your energy leaves your body in over explaining yourself, staying vigilant on the weather in a room, micro adjusting and delivering your message a little softer so people feel safer around you, preparing for reactions that might never come, or trying to explain yourself before you've even spoken. These are not small things. These are micro drains, constant, invisible, relentless. And here's the hardest thing to admit. You learn to leak your energy because you're good at it, because other people rewarded you, because it's what helped you be successful, is what it kept things steady. And ultimately, because it was easier than risk sharing or showing what's really brewing inside you. But now your system won't do it. And it's not because you're failing, it's because you're evolving. Your power is lighting up at home, and you're noticing that leaking your energy is no longer sustainable. I coached a woman recently. Let's call her Jan. She was leading a high stakes transition in her company, but she found herself avoiding emails, Slacks, meetings, conversations she actually wanted to have. At the beginning of our session, she found herself understandably angry, and she called this the shutdown mode. But as we slowed everything down, something else appeared. And she said, it's like everything in me is pulling away. I don't want to have to explain. I don't want to justify. I don't want to defend my position. She wasn't avoiding the work. She was avoiding the energetic cost of what she knew happened when she over-explained, overextended herself, or she tried to control outcomes or manage herself so things would go the way she hoped for, or even to try to integrate the disconnect that happened between her internal experience and what she thought she needed to show. So her body did something brilliant. It withdrew before she could. The problem was she didn't understand the dynamics of this withdrawal, and she was experiencing it as a collapse. She felt like failure, like all or nothing, like something was wrong. But when she and I paused and she actually listened to the sensation, and by this I mean not the thoughts, not even the emotions, but the energetic signature of the moment. She took a deep breath and then she said, it's disappointment. It's that feeling of not being seen, maybe not being treated fairly. And it wants acknowledgement. But see, not a fix, not a fight, not a solution, just acknowledgement. And in that moment, when she started to listen inward and stopped trying to control and keep it all together, something shifted. Her shoulders relaxed, her breath deepened, her awareness widened, and her presence returned. She wasn't frozen. She was finally with herself. Here's what I want you to understand. When something feels off, most women don't react to the situation. They react to the energetic cost of what they think will happen next. They leave themselves before the moment even happens. And it shows up in very recognizable ways, like when you're 3 steps ahead of yourself, or you feel the impulse to have to over explain yourself or defend your position, when you're micro adjusting, fixing, controlling outcomes. And this is interesting. When, because we care, we show up with our best self, but with the weight of the world in our shoulders, as if everything depended on that. None of this is conscious, of course. It's a protective pattern. It's something that made sense a long time ago, but now it's blocking the part of you that is quietly emerging. Jen said something that stayed with me. She said, I only know how to do all or nothing. I don't know how to live in the middle. And this really struck me because it's so common. I hear it so often that it feels universal. And that is that the middle ground feels unfamiliar. It feels like you're doing nothing, like you are losing control, boring, risky, exposed. But here's the deeper truth. The middle ground is not neutral, it's not passive, it's not gray. It's the place where you stop blocking your power, where you stop anticipating, where you stop performing. It's where you start becoming more receptive and aligned with yourself. Your attention returns inward, your breath settles, your awareness, your perception widens, and clarity begins to rise naturally. Presence doesn't need to be built, doesn't need to be gathered. It's always here, but you can't access it when you're 3 steps ahead of yourself. The middle ground is where you start listening to presence, when it becomes the loudest thing, when instead of managing the moment, you start perceiving it quietly, clearly, grounded from within. But before I get ahead of myself, let's explore this together because I want you to experience it in your own system. So you can close your eyes if it feels comfortable, or just soften your gaze. You can look down and bring your attention inward. Think of a moment where you left yourself. Don't think of something big, something small, maybe something that happened recently. What was that like for you? Maybe you noticed that you were over explaining, or you felt a tightness trying to control a situation, or something in you shifted, distancing, leaving yourself to try to control something outside of yourself. Just just let it come to you. Notice the internal movement, not the story or even the emotions. Just what's moving inside of you. Where is the energy perhaps gathering, maybe holding? You can feel a bit of a tightness. It could also feel like a cold or tingling. Just sense it. If it doesn't come immediately, that's fine. Just stay with it. Now let everything come back to the middle ground. And by this, I literally mean bring the center of gravity back to your spine, like behind your spine. And from there, stack your vertebrae one on top of the other. So you don't need to force anything. Just imagine your attention and your curiosity to like a central line in your body that goes perhaps from your crown down to your tailbone and your feet. Another way to think of it is it's like back and down. So back also, like what happens to your attention when you're trying to remember something in the past. So it kind of pulls back, and then down, you connect with the ground beneath you. Yeah, so if you don't feel it at first, it's totally fine. So just imagine that space inside of yourself that is steady and quiet, even just for a second. The middle ground is not a technique, it's a returning, it's a softening, a widening. Feel it for yourself in whatever language you want to give it. What feels true from this place? Not what fear says, not what urgency says, not what habit says, but what you can sense when your energy is no longer scattered everywhere and is back to this central line where it's steady and clear. This is where quiet power becomes available. This is where your real intelligence starts shining through, where boundaries form, and where truth becomes easy. Just notice this. And not because I'm saying so, but because it's what you are sensing in yourself right now. And this is what is available for you always, because this is your truth. This is what shifted for Jan after we did this practice. And after she took a deep breath, she said, yeah, I can take a step back. I can take my power back. I can pause. I can adjust however I need to in order to return to myself. I didn't see this before, but now I can sense it when I'm back in myself. Nothing dramatic happened, nothing explosive, nothing big, just a quiet returning. And from that place, she felt her true leadership emerging. She didn't need to defend herself, explain herself, or control outcomes. She just needed to stop leaving herself. And that's where power begins. Here's what I want you to take with you. Quiet power isn't passive. It's not withholding. It's not disappearing. It's not the silence of collapse. Quiet power is what emerges and what's possible when your energy comes home. When you're no longer 3 steps ahead of yourself, trying to manage everything, or you're to the side of yourself, trying to anticipate situations, or even behind yourself, trying to catch up. Quiet power is presence, and presence is clarity, and clarity is leadership. This is the shift so many women feel, but they don't have a name for it. This is the moment when you stop orienting outward and start orienting inward, not to avoid, like Jan, but to lead yourself and then lead from yourself. This is the emergence of a different kind of power, not performative, but true. If this resonated with you, stay close and subscribe. And if this quieter, more inward version of you is starting to rise, the very next place it shows up is in your discipline. When the old ways of showing up and self-management stop working, it's not a motivation problem. It's your system evolving and continuing to shift. So in the next video, we'll explore why discipline starts falling apart in this transition and the truth it's trying to reveal. For now, come back to the middle ground whenever you remember. Presence is always here, waiting for you.